So aside from manuscript preparation, and before we get to the cover art step, I wanted to talk about the marketing research. And this is preliminary market research that you do prior to publishing your book, because now, before your book is actually ready to be published, is the best time to find out how your book will be received by your market, because you can better prepare your book, even the interior content and the cover art and the information that you put on your book cover, for the designated market segment that you've decided on. But you have to put some work into that to make sure that you're actually going after the right market. So what this is, it's any information about you, your book, or your book subject matter that will impact your ability to be a successful author. And that covers several facets that I wanted to discuss in detail. So first of all, we need to think about your objectives. There are both a personal and a professional objective to why you're trying to publish your book, and that will come across in your marketing strategy. So again, is this something that's been a labor of love that you've wanted to have done for some time from a personal perspective? Is it something that you're looking for in trying to find some credibility from those that you know? And the same goes with professional objective. Is this something that is part of your business? This book is something that reflects what you and your career and your professional life is about, and so you want to get a book out to help grow your business. Your reasons for publishing your book can incorporate both a personal and a professional objective, but those are things that we want to document now so that the decisions we make now, later on when we think about or we're faced with some results one way or the other, whether they're good or bad, we'll be able to come back and look at why we made the decisions that we made from a marketing perspective. And so let's talk about how important it is that you find a traditional publisher for your book, because I've worked with a lot of authors that, even though they're pursuing self-publishing, they're only going in with a couple toes. Their feet stuck in the water, but they really aren't committed to the self-publishing route because they're holding hope that a traditional publisher is going to knock on their door or give them a call, and that they'll be able to pull out of the self-publishing process right at the last minute and go with the traditional publisher. And we don't want to work in that type of situation. It's fine that you pursue traditional publishing. In fact, I encourage you to do so. But put yourself on a timeline of 6 months, a year, even longer, to go that route and see if it works out for you. But if it doesn't, and after that period of time has lapsed, let's make the decision to go ahead and pursue self-publishing as vigorously as we pursue traditional publishing. And so this is a question that I ask my authors early in the game, before we publish their book, on how important is it that they find a traditional publisher. Because if it's not important at all, it makes things easy. If you'll take it if it comes, that's great, but it's also something that what most likely would work out is that it would come with a subsequent book, because publishers are less likely to pick up a book that you're currently self-publishing. And then, is it your ultimate goal? It's great if it is. That's fine. It's very common for it to be. But at the same time, we want to make sure that this is something that you document so that we know what your mindset is right now, so we're not surprised with any decisions or any events that occur later in the publishing process or the marketing process once the book is out. And then we want to think about what are your plans for future editions, because especially if you were publishing a nonfiction book, a how-to book, for example, it's quite common that you might have a different version of that book come out later. Maybe it's a workbook that goes along with the book that you published. Maybe it is a complementary book that goes more into detail about a subtopic that your original book was about. These are things that are going to allow us, from a marketing perspective, to better understand what your publishing objectives are down the road, so that we plan our marketing activities around that. What is the genre of your book? That's a question question that is not always as clear as you might think. I've worked with authors that have hesitated to give me a genre because they certainly don't want to be pigeonholed, but at the same time, maybe they're not sure. They're trying to write something different that will, and that's a great idea, but they're trying to write something that will have maybe a broader impact. But in the world of marketing research and internet marketing these days, what we want to do is to actually narrow our market segment by better identifying a specific genre that we feel will be very compelled and very attracted to the book that we're putting out. So give some thought to what the genre of your book is. And the way I like to question or to put the question out is that if you had to think of one place where your book would be shelved in a physical bookstore, what subject would it be under? Where